Hello everybody, my name is Sophie and I work at the Seamus Heaney Listen Now Again exhibition. And I'm here today to get you guys to look a bit closer at one of Seamus Heaney's best loved poems. So today we're going to look at a poem called Digging. Have you heard of it before? You might have even done it at school before. There's a chance you probably even know more than me. But this poem was published in Heaney's first poetry collection called Death of a Naturalist in 1966, and it was the first poem in the collection. This shows us that it was a very important poem to Heaney. So it's our job today to find out why it was so important to him and what he was trying to say in it. When we look at a poem, it's important not just to read it, but to try and understand it. So we're going to read through Digging now, and we're going to look closely at the language, the images, and look at what Seamus Heaney was actually trying to tell us. Are you ready? So I'm going to read it aloud for you now. And when I do, I want you guys to do me a favour. Close your eyes. When you do this, when I'm reading, you'll be able to see the images come alive in your mind. It'll make it a lot more fun, I promise. Are you ready? Okay. Digging by Seamus Heaney. Between my finger and my thumb, the squat pen rests, snug as a gun. Under my window, a clean rasping sound when the spade sinks into gravelly ground. My father, digging. I look down till his straining rump among the flower beds bends low, comes up 20 years away, stooping in rhythm through potato drills, where he was digging. The coarse boot nestled on the lug, the shaft against the inside knee was levered firmly. He rooted out tall tops, buried the bright edge deep, to scatter new potatoes that we picked, loving their cool hardness in our hands. By God, the old man could handle a spade, just like his old man. My grandfather cut more turf in a day than any other man on Toner's bog. Once I carried him milk in a bottle, corked sloppily with paper. He straightened up to drink it, then fell to ride away, nicking and slicing neatly, heaving sods over his shoulder, going down and down for the good turf, digging. The cold smell of potato mould, the squelch and slap of soggy peat, the curt cuts of an edge, through living roots awaken in my head. But I've no spade to follow men like them. Between my finger and my thumb, the squat pen rests. I'll dig with it. Okay, you guys can open your eyes now. Did you feel like you were in the bog with Heaney? I certainly did. But it's our job now to read through the poem again. What did you guys think of it? What was your first impression? I want you to share these thoughts and opinions with your family. You might want to do this exercise with one of your parents or one of your siblings. They'll also be able to help you with any words that you don't understand or maybe have never come across before. It's very, very common for this to happen. So we want to think about the language that Heaney uses. Like I said, did you feel like you were in the bog with him? There are certain ways that Heaney makes you feel that way. Heaney wanted those that were reading his poems to feel as involved in the situation as he did. So let's go back into the poem and have a look. It's our job to be detectives like this. If we want to say that Heaney wanted us to feel like we were in the bog, we have to go back into the poem and look for certain words or lines that prove our point. So let's have a look. What can you guys find? I can see a line here where he says, the cold smell of potato mould, the squelch and slap of soggy peat. I think that line is really, really detailed, don't you think? What he does here is he uses a technique called alliteration. When I say alliteration, I mean the squelch and slap of soggy peat, that continuous use of the S sound. When you read this line, read it to yourself now. Read it out loud. Do you feel like you're walking through a soggy bog and your feet are getting lost? I think it definitely does. But you guys go back and have a look for more lines that might prove that point. We also want to have a look at what Heaney is trying to say in this poem. What do you think he's trying to say? Do you think he's happy? Do you think he's sad? Do you want to know what I think? I think that Heaney is so proud in this poem. I think he's so proud of his father and his grandfather. I think in this poem, we can see Seamus Heaney as a very young child, walking around the bogs, looking in awe at his father and his grandfather, working so hard. I think he sees them as superheroes almost. What do you think? But again, we have to go back to the poem and have a look. Put our detective hats back on and see what we can find. So let's have a look. I can see another line here where it says, "My grandfather cut more turf in a day than any other man on Toner's Bog." I think that shows how proud he is of his grandfather. Do you think so? You also have the line after that where he says, "Once I carried him milk in a bottle, corked sloppily with paper. He straightened up to drink it, then fell to ride away, nicking and slicing neatly." So you have this image of Heaney's grandfather taking a slug out of a bottle of milk, but not resting to enjoy it, and going straight back to work. So again, Heaney's looking at this and thinking, I just can't believe it. He's just an incredible figure. Do you guys agree with me? Because you're allowed to disagree with me, and don't forget. I would love to hear what you guys think. What's another really interesting part of this poem is the end. Do you guys think you know what Heaney's trying to say at the end of the poem? Shall we read it out again? Let's go. "But I've no spade to dig or to follow men like them. Between my finger and my thumb, the squat pen rests. I'll dig with it." So what do you think Heaney's trying to say here? We know that Heaney didn't grow up to be a farmer. What did he grow up to be? That's right, he grew up to be a poet. So maybe he's reading this poem and thinking, I'm so proud of what my family do, but I know that that's not the right way for me to go. I want to be a poet. I want to write. I want to dig with my pen and not with my spade. Do you think so? It's your job to look deeper into the poem and have a look for other lines that might prove that point. But you also might think that Heaney's trying to say something completely different. And that's the best thing about poetry. Everybody is allowed to have their own opinion and no one has a wrong opinion. So don't be afraid to share your thoughts, again with your family or your friends. Try and get involved in the poem. Read it again. Pause this video and go back to me reading it out loud. Close your eyes again and look at those images. Imagine those images and see what you think. But I would love to hear what you guys think of this poem, so make sure to leave any comments you have down below. But I wish you the best of luck in reading this poem in more detail and finding out more about how Heaney was proud of his family and how he wanted to chart his own path to be a poet. Do you think he made the right decision in being a poet? I think if you enjoy this poem, you definitely think so. But make sure that every time you read a poem like this, you put your detective hat on and you read it closely. Don't just read it out loud and leave it down again. Make sure you understand what Heaney's trying to say. You'll learn so much more, I promise. Thank you for listening, guys.